Just ahead on American Black Journal, the city of Detroit marks the 50th anniversary of the 1963 Walk to Freedom. We'll have highlights of the commemoration, and we'll talk with a Detroit woman whose photo has become a symbol of the 1963 Civil Rights March in Washington. Plus, you can make a difference in Detroit by participating in this year's Arise Detroit Neighborhoods Day. We'll talk about this annual event that brings thousands of volunteers out in the city. That's all coming up next.
Lindsay wants to know.
So I'm curious, what's DTE Energy doing to improve their customer service?
Why don't we take a ride over there and let Rachel tell us? Hello.
Hello. Take a walk with me. Here at DTE Energy, we're working very hard to improve our service, like answering every call under 1 minute and resolving the issue on the first call.
Wow, no passing the buck, huh?
Nope. And plus, we're adding over 100 customer service jobs right here in the state of Michigan.
I need to get a real job.
I'm going to send your application.
Thanks, Rachel. DTE Energy. Know your own power.
Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. 50 years ago today, an estimated 125,000 people walked down Woodward Avenue in Detroit in the Walk to Freedom. Dr. Martin Luther King debuted his I Have a Dream speech later that day at Cobo Hall. In honor of the anniversary, the UAW and the NAACP organized another Detroit Freedom Walk this weekend. Here's a look at some of the highlights.
I officially call to order the magnificent and exciting and historic 2013 Walk to Freedom. Welcome. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
50 years ago, there probably were 20 million people living in poverty. Today, there are 60 million. Martin Luther King Jr. wanted to eradicate poverty, racism, and militarism and violence from our society. That's right. We got a big job to do.
A time now for the development banks, a time to revive the war on poverty, a time to revive Office of Economic Opportunity, time to put America back to work.
That's right.
And through all that, nothing break our spirits as we keep our hopes alive.
When we can see unemployment rates still at an unequal level based on who and where your zip code is, when we can see education gaps and all, that's why we march. We're not on a nostalgia trip down Woodward. We still have challenges.
I kind of wish in 1963 I was here to have seen how all of this started, but I'm here today to say that I'm part of this, I believe in this, I'm supportive, I'm ready to walk, I'm ready to fight, and I hope all of us will get together so that we don't forget those who came before us. We're standing on their shoulders today for the things that they did to make possible for us to have freedom and to have access.
I thought it was a historical moment and history that he needed to learn about and let him know what Martin Luther King did 50 years ago and what we're going to do today to commemorate that.
One of the things is not to forget the past, and then so we can move forward and all. And Martin Luther King really left a major legacy for all of us to follow.
The fact that you are here, the fact that we have defied the odds, the fact that in the midst of economic turmoil and social injustice and political repression, that the dream lives on in the people in the city of Detroit.
I have a dream this afternoon that one day right here in Detroit, Negroes will be able to buy a house or rent a house anywhere that their money will carry them, and they will be able to get a job. Yes, I have a dream this afternoon.
So just 2 months after the 1963 Detroit Walk to Freedom, Dr. King gave his I Have a Dream speech again at the Civil Rights March on Washington. One of the most famous images from that march is this photo of a 12-year-old girl carrying a banner calling for jobs and freedom. The photo is housed in the National Archives, and for many years, no one knew the little girl's identity. Recently, the mystery was solved. She is Detroiter Edith Lee Payne, and we are extremely pleased to have you here today on American Black Journal.
Thank you.
So that's something, that picture, and it's even more something that for years and years, no one knew who it was. Tell me about when you discovered that was your photo.
I actually discovered that the photo had been taken and was in existence when my cousin was browsing a catalog that contained Black History calendars. And the photos of the calendar, the cover, front and back, showed my picture on the back holding that banner. And she phoned me, she lives in Baltimore, she phoned me, and of course I didn't believe her, because why would I be on a calendar with Martin Luther King and Frederick Douglass and Sojourner Truth? So I pulled it up on the website, and sure enough, there was this face that it was still difficult for me to believe. It's me.
It was you.
So I called another friend and asked her to pull up the website and look at it and say, is that me? And so that kind of went on for a while. And
so that had to startle you, though. This just the idea of, you know, pulling up a web page and there's your photo. That's not just a picture on a website, but it's a part of civil rights history.
Right. Well, I didn't know the depth of where that picture was.
Yeah.
She only mentioned to me at the time that it was in a museum. So I started my search first with the Smithsonian and then to the Library of Congress. And it was the Library of Congress that directed me to the National
Archives, right.
And said where it was. As far as I knew, that was the only place that that photo had been shown until a few months later. I saw it on a documentary done by Antoine Fuqua.
Okay. And do you remember the photo being taken? You had no idea.
No idea.
Yeah. So tell me though about the march. I mean, so you were at the March on Washington in '63, but you were also part of the march in Detroit in 1963.
I was. My mother knew, of course, like the thousands of others that went, that Dr. King was going to be there. We went, and that's when he asked the participants there to join him at the march in Washington.
In Washington, I see.
Because Washington, D.C. is my mother's home.
Okay.
So it's where we went for vacation every year. She decided to schedule our vacation to go then, which also happened to be my birthday.
Okay.
Yeah. August 28th.
August 28th,
yes,
right. Okay.
Yes.
And did you go with a group of people, or was it just...
It was just my mother and I, and we actually left that weekend, and we took a Greyhound bus, the usual bus ride, because she didn't drive. And so we actually left from my aunt's house in Northeast D.C.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. And talk to me about being a 12-year-old young lady at this march. I mean, you had to have some sense of the place it would have in history just by the sheer number of people in Washington.
Well, when we attended the march in Detroit a few months earlier, it didn't strike me as being anything historic just because there were a lot of people there.
Right.
I was used to being around a lot of people. I used to go to the Olympia. You know, my mother took me to a lot of things. Never a crowd quite like that, but because Dr. King was more of a Reverend King to me, it was just like being at a huge church service. Okay, and that's kind of how I look at him and respect him then and as well as now. The same for being in Washington, but in that time and hearing what he talked about, the problems in the South, it bothered me because there were children like myself that couldn't do the things that I could do.
So even as a 12-year-old, you were really aware of that.
Oh yeah, I was in junior high school at that time.
Right.
So to know that there were children that couldn't attend school, I went to integrated schools. I lived in an integrated neighborhood in Detroit. We took the bus and sat wherever we wanted to sit.
Right.
And we just lived the dream that Dr. King spoke about. So it was really disturbing to me to know that in this very same country, just a few hundred miles away, people were not able to live under this United States Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and all those things that we learned about in school.
Right, right.
So yeah, that bothered me, and I understood his passion.
Yeah. So now you heard the speech twice then. I mean, you heard it first here in Detroit and second in Washington. Do you remember what your initial reaction was? I mean, it is easily the most famous speech he's ever given, and it's one of the most famous speeches that anyone has ever given. Do you remember feeling like when he gave it that first time, what did it feel like? How did it move you?
The first time, it was exciting to hear because I knew who he was, and I knew what he stood for. The second time, it meant a little more, not just the speech, but the whole environment, because there were so many entertainers there. People that I could equate with that I would see on TV. Mahalia Jackson, for one.
Sure.
And seeing her on the movie Imitation of Life, it was just striking for me to see her standing there singing. Lena Horne was there. She came over and spoke with my mother because they used to entertain together. But Dr. King's voice, it's just something about his voice that just, I don't know, it pierces you. And the way he speaks, it's so much compassion. But his message is also spiritual, and that was something that I could relate to.
Yeah. And so you still have the banner that you were carrying that day in Washington. Here, hold that up for the viewers. That's something. I mean, this is a 50-year-old banner.
Yes, it is.
So tell me how you've managed to hang on to it and keep it in such good condition for all that time.
Well, actually, as most children have to do and say how I spent my summer vacation when you go back to school, I did a report on a poster board and mounted this banner and typed a report on my typewriter that we had back then. Remington Rand, as a matter of fact.
You remember the typewriter brand?
The typewriter, yes. I was so happy to get it. And pictures that I had cut out of the Look or Life magazine. And so it was mounted. And my mother was a keeper. She just kept things. And she passed away 20 years ago. But she still had it, and of course I kept it.
Wow, wow. And so now you've got it mounted, and
yes,
you can pass it on to other generations.
Yes,
right?
to my grandchildren.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me a little bit about how the march affected you, the things that you've done. I mean, you've been a civil rights activist your whole life, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. It affected me. It inspired me. Dr. King inspired me. My mother inspired me because of the situations that she encountered in her travels through the South as an entertainer. I knew and always felt, but it was something within me, so it inspired what was in me, that there was a need to do something. Whatever something was wrong, that's just how I was. It had to be right. We had to make it right.
Right.
When I lived in Maryland, I got married. The schools were desegregated, but they wanted them to be segregated again, and I had to fight to keep my children in the schools and
in the integrated
white
schools.
Yes, because the education was better. Everything was better for them.
Yeah.
So even before that, it just inspired me, and of course I continue to do that now in a number of ways.
Right, right. Including you were one of the original challengers to the emergency manager law.
Yes.
And you're a frequent speaker at city council meetings.
Frequent.
Boy,
yes.
that alone should earn you a medal, right? Going down there and putting up with that, right?
Yeah, but our voices have to be heard, and as Dr. King did, he was a voice for the voiceless.
Right.
And that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
That's how we keep his dream and his legacy alive.
Right. Well, and you're doing it. Thank you for being here and sharing that wonderful story.
Thank you for having me.
Just ahead on American Black Journal, there's another event this summer that'll bring thousands of people together all over Detroit. We'll talk about the 7th annual Arise Detroit Neighborhoods Day and how you can get involved. That's all coming up next. The 7th annual Arise Detroit Neighborhoods Day takes place on Saturday, August 3rd. The event attracts thousands of volunteers who participate in community service and improvement projects throughout the city. Arise Detroit is signing up participants right now, so take a look.
Rise Detroit, show your community pride. Get your church, block club, community group, or business and join us for the 7th annual Arise Detroit Neighborhoods Day, Saturday, August 3rd in neighborhoods all over Detroit. Thousands of volunteers will be doing community service projects of all kinds. Register today at www.arisedetroit.org. That's www.arisedetroit.org. Or call 313-921-1955. Join us for Detroit's great new tradition, Arise Detroit Neighborhoods Day.
Joining me now is Luther Keith, the Executive Director of Arise Detroit, along with Jennifer Rood, who's the Communications and Marketing Coordinator at Vanguard Community Development Corporation. Welcome to American Black Journal. Luther, I would be remiss in not saying that you are one of the most positive people I know in Detroit. I mean, every time I see you, you are working and talking about how to make this city better. And this event is a great example.
It is, Stephen. You know, we sometimes lose sight of the fact of the more hopeful, positive elements that still are a big part of the fabric of this community. And we're just pleased to be our 7th annual Rise Detroit Neighborhoods Day. We think is a unique tradition that Detroiters are embracing. It's an opportunity where we bring people of all races, creeds, colors to come together in neighborhoods all over this way in a spectacular way. And it's not just a party, it's a way where people can make a difference. And it's not just about one day, it's about what people do throughout the year. But I like to say it's like the birthday for Detroit neighborhoods. And this day, we celebrate the work that they do throughout the year, because before and after they are working. But on this day, you can say, wow, what a great community we have of people coming together. So we're excited about it. And again, thanks for giving us this opportunity.
And so what Neighborhoods Day, tell me about some of the activities that
it literally, Stephen, almost every neighborhood in Detroit. And some folks confuse it with the cleanup day. It's not just a cleanup day, though. We have lots of cleanups. Last year we did more than 50. Basically, last year we had about 200 events. We had people adopting and doing community service projects at schools. We had people, clean up neighborhoods, planting gardens, literally building houses from scratch. We had concerts, health fairs, back to school events, scholarship, signing up for scholarship applications for high school students, all across this community. And this year, we're going to go to a new level with an exciting new project that we're going to be talking about, where we will literally be deploying thousands of volunteers over like 50 blocks in a Detroit neighborhood for a week leading up and concluding on the Neighborhoods Day weekend. So it's a great way for people to be involved, and we want people to be part of it. In our local media, like you've given us opportunity here to really celebrate this, because this is something that Detroit can be proud of, and it's driven and done by people in the community. Luther Keith doesn't tell people what to do. Arise Detroit does not tell people. People sign up because they believe that there's hope, and they have not given up on the city. And so we want to celebrate that and have as many people as we can be part of it.
Yeah. So Jennifer, Vanguard's role in this is probably a big day for you guys too, right?
Yes, it's a big day. It's a big week as well, leading up to it, working with Life Remodeled, and just looking to beautify the neighborhood and do as best as we can with all the volunteers that are going to be coming through. We're going to try to mobilize residents in the neighborhood to help out as well whenever they can. Sure. You know, make them aware of what's going on so they're not surprised when there's however many people that show up in their neighborhood throughout the week. And, you know, just try to get them involved and engaged, and, you know, really make it a team effort, and focus on not just, you know, what Life Remodeled, you know, what their vision is, but also how it can work for, you know, our needs and our purposes in the North End neighborhood.
And talk a little more about the neighborhood you're talking about. It's North End and Life Remodeled, what that is.
Yes, the North End is a historic neighborhood in Detroit, which is just
right in the center.
Right in the center. It's bounded by Woodward 75, the border of Highland Park at the north, and approximately Grand Boulevard to the south. So Life Remodeled is the larger organization that's going to be doing a lot of things during the week leading up to Arise Detroit's Neighborhoods Day on Saturday. So they are going to come through on both sides of Woodward, actually, and help with boarding up homes, building homes, cleaning up vacant lots, beautifying, you know, whatever they can do in that amount of time. So individuals will be working from 8 in the morning till 8 in the night, and you know, they're going to be coming from all over, local businesses, local churches, both within the Detroit community and within the larger Metro Detroit community as well.
And that neighborhood is one of the places that that the mayor sort of decided that he was going to really focus on with his early Detroit Works project. Tell me about some of the things that are going on in that neighborhood. Are you guys seeing a difference? Are things moving forward there?
Yes, things are moving forward. I mean, Vanguard definitely has, you know, been in that neighborhood for 19 years now. It was an organization started by Bishop Edgar Van of Second Ebenezer Church. So he saw a need, you know, that had to be filled within that community, and Vanguard has done a very good job of filling that need over the years. So currently we have a few different initiatives going on in addition to partnering with Luther Keith and Arise Detroit and Life Remodeled. We have another initiative called Restore North End, where we will be going into some of the more stable blocks within the neighborhood and just really trying to make them a bit more appealing and just kind of make it more of a sustainable type situation for the residents within those neighborhoods, and just making it, you know, giving it a little bit of a boost and hoping that it'll kind of spread out from there a bit more. So.
Yeah, I mean, what she's talking about sounds familiar to anybody, I think, who lives in the city. That's the story in every neighborhood.
Right, well, see, the thing to remember is that for all of the development downtown, and we applaud that until you get the neighborhoods right, you really don't have a viable city.
That's the city, right.
Right, and so the great thing about this is that we have people making stands for Detroit all over this city, and what I call the real heroes of some of these neighborhoods. And we have these events in some of the most challenged neighborhoods and some of the most affluent neighborhoods of Detroit. But all these people are connected to a common vision. We want a better community. Not only that, we're willing to work to create a better community. You know, as I often said, my mother says, Jesus Christ may be coming, but he's probably not coming tonight. And so therefore, we all need to—
So we gotta get to work.
We gotta get to work. And that's what's great, Steve. We have a Ravendale community and University Commons and St. Mary's Luce Block Club in Northeast Detroit, and little churches. Second Ebenezer, in fact, is going to do its own event at Second Ebenezer Church, but Antioch Church of Christ and Bethel Baptist East, and little storefronts and little businesses, big and small, all over the city. And it's an amazing thing to see. We like to call this Detroit's great new tradition. And much in the way that we celebrate River Days and all the great events downtown, and I love those. But let's give these folks in these neighborhoods a hand.
Get them
and I want
help.
to, and I want to think that one of the things at Rise Detroit that we've tried to do, and hopefully we've had some impact, is what Neighborhoods Day has done. It's made, or assisted rather, the local media, when they want to find stories about people doing things, make a difference in Detroit. On this day, you can find them everywhere. Matter of fact, when we
all over.
Matter of fact, when we first started, the station manager called me and said, "Luther, tell us where to go. You got too many things going on." And that's the exact point that, you know, sometimes the flip gets scripted to where we think bad things are the things that happen in Detroit all the time.
Sure.
And there's a saying that you hear a lot, God is good, and people answer all the time. Well, I like to say good things are happening in Detroit all the time.
That's
and
good.
They are. And so we have to work on our challenges. We can't have an ostrich approach to our problems. But we need to get more people engaged in the solution and celebrate our victories. We do have victories in this town.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are figuring it out. That's why you're seeing, quite frankly, a lot of the business investment. These people have figured it out that things are happening. We're on the cusp of greatness again in this city. What's so great about Neighborhoods Day, these are the people who didn't have to have a businessman or a politician to tell them.
To tell them to do it.
Exactly,
Right.
And that we can create something for the future. So it's a great testament to the heart and soul of this community, and we want everybody to be part of it, and they can be if they go to our website, if I may, and register their organization to participate, or be a volunteer at www.arisedetroit.org. Or give us a call at 313-921-1955 and be part of it, because we think it's a great thing for Detroit. And quite frankly, forums like yours are a big part of making that day a success. And again, I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity.
I'm glad you guys came. We've got about 2 minutes left. You mentioned this split or dichotomy, I guess, between downtown and midtown and the neighborhoods, which I think anybody who lives here sees on a daily basis. Give me some idea of what you think government or business can do to make some of what's going on in downtown matter in the neighborhoods. We talk about that all the time, but I never know exactly what it is we're thinking.
Well, I think one of the things I think you're going to see, because we're going to be making some announcements about this, one of the things you have to see is bring some of that visibility, and this is why, quite frankly, where some of our media can help us too, to the neighborhoods when they do
so
this.
people see.
Right, and to that, and quite frankly, I think everybody can't live downtown in Midtown.
Right.
I happen to live in a neighborhood, a very fine neighborhood, and there are other neighborhoods in Detroit as well. But I think government needs to focus on one thing, or several things, but one of it is people ask me, what do Detroiters, the neighborhoods need? They need help. Yeah. And so what can we do with our zoning regulations and cutting red tape and being more responsive? And, you know, we are a non-political organization. We don't get involved in debates about Kevin Norton, this or that. But we know that whoever is governing the life of the people in the neighborhoods of Detroit have to be, we have to do more to improve the quality of life there. And so I think we have to make the decisions downtown so they help everybody all over town.
All over. Okay. Well, that's going to have to be the last word. Thank you guys for being here. Good luck with the event.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. We'd love to hear what you thought about today's show and get your ideas for future shows. Connect with us on Facebook and on Twitter. We'll see you next time on American Black Journal.
Lindsay wants to know.
So I'm curious, what's DTE Energy doing to improve their customer service?
Why don't we take a ride over there and let Rachel tell us? Hello.
Hello. Take a walk with me. Here at DTE Energy, we're working very hard to improve our service, like answering every call under 1 minute and resolving the issue on the first call.
Wow, no passing the buck, huh?
Nope. And plus, we're adding over 100 customer service jobs right here in the state of Michigan.
I need to get a real job.
I'm going to send your application.
Thanks, Rachel. DTE Energy. Know your own power.